Calvin is a genius, short-statured thief. Today he's been released from prison, and his buddy Percy met him. Percy told him about a new job, stealing a diamond worth $100,000. Meanwhile, a young couple, Vanessa and Daryl, were having dinner at a restaurant. The girl said she had a surprise. The guy thought she was pregnant, but it turned out she had just been promoted at work. That upset Daryl because he'd long dreamed of becoming a father. Our shorty arrived at the scene. Percy pulled out a Glock and intended to storm the store, but Calvin was smarter. While his buddy distracted the clerk, the short thief secretly crawled in a bag under the counter with the gem. He drilled a hole and stole the diamond. The job was done. All that was left was to escape. Unfortunately, some woman noticed the guys. She heard barking from her purse. Somehow her dog had ended up there. Because of that dog, the guys got exposed and the cops were called. The two tried to flee, but someone had blocked their car wheel, so they had to run on foot. The unlucky criminals hid in a small shop, but the police followed them in. The robbers split up. To hide the gem, Calvin tossed it into Vanessa's purse. One of the cops started beating up a random customer. And you know why? Because the suspect description said the thief was black. So the cop harassed the first random black guy he saw. Percy and Calvin managed to escape. To get the diamond back, the guys tracked down the newlyweds. Our partners followed the purse and located it. Now they needed a plan to get into the house. Percy wanted to do it the old-fashioned way with a gun, but Calvin said, "Man, I don't want to go back to prison." Then Percy suggested a new plan. Disguise himself as a baby and infiltrate the family undercover. Calvin couldn't refuse that. After a proper disguise, Calvin was placed on the couple's doorstep. Suddenly, a dog appeared and peed right on him. Daryl came out onto the porch and noticed the baby. They took him inside, bathed and changed him because, after the dog's trick, the smell wasn't great. Vanessa suggested taking Calvin to an orphanage, but when he heard that, the baby started crying and coughing. The couple thought he was sick and took him to a doctor. The checkup was interesting. Everyone freaked out when they saw the baby had a tattoo on his shoulder and teeth like a 40-year-old man. Vanessa exclaimed, "What kind of monsters could do this?" Daryl supported her and suggested they keep the baby. While the couple was discussing the baby's future, the little guy had already stolen the purse and headed for the exit, but was caught by a guard. Meanwhile, Percy reported to his boss. Percy was in big trouble since he still hadn't delivered the diamond. If he didn't soon, he was a dead man. That evening, Calvin got hungry and started stealing cookies from the grandpa. When the old man protested, Calvin rubbed the cookies under his armpits, shoved them in different places. The old man really had a bad day. The next day, Calvin tried flirting with Vanessa. Our trickster begged for some milk and got what he wanted, just not from the woman he expected. The guest and Vanessa were leaving, and before she went, the lady wanted to kiss the baby on the cheek, but Calvin took the opportunity and kissed her right on the lips. Following the doctor's advice, the couple decided to check Calvin's temperature. But there was one catch: the thermometer had to go in the 5th point, and that's probably when Calvin lost his virginity. When the two fell asleep, our hero tried to steal the diamond. He found it and was about to run off, but the grandpa woke up with a shotgun. The old man suspected something was off. He tried to tell Daryl, but Daryl called him crazy. Daryl promised the baby he'd be the best father and take him to the park. Calvin was so moved by those words that, for a moment, he actually wanted to be a real kid, live in that family, and forget about the criminal life. That night, the couple decided to have some fun, and Calvin watched them the whole time. In the morning, Vanessa woke up and found the sneaky guy lying in bed with her. During breakfast, the little one caused trouble again. He stole Grandpa's bacon. The prankster ate all his bacon. The old man was exhausted by his antics and hadn't eaten properly for days. Later, Vanessa went to work, leaving Daryl alone with the baby. But Calvin didn't want baby food. He challenged Daryl to a game of hide and seek. Things didn't go well for Daryl. He got hit with a frying pan. The little guy tried to escape, but Vanessa returned and ruined his plan. The two went to the park to play. Again, things didn't go well for Daryl. He kept getting hit in the groin by a ball or a toy plane. Daryl decided to rest, and in the meantime, the little guy started protecting the playground kids, demanding payment for playing there. Suddenly, Percy appeared. He tried to steal the purse but accidentally grabbed the wrong one, filled with diapers instead of the diamond. Time to head home. Calvin got a genius idea. What if he stole Daryl's car? With his squeaky voice, he begged for the keys, hit the guy in the knee, and took off. Daryl caught a ride and chased after him, thinking a criminal had stolen his car and Calvin was in danger. Meanwhile, the cops spotted Calvin, forcing him to drift hard and swerve through intersections. More and more police cars joined the chase, but eventually, they stopped the car. Calvin, however, wasn't done. He tricked them by hopping into a child's seat, and the cops thought the suspect had fled. Percy brought the bag to his boss, saying the diamond was inside. But surprise! It was full of baby milk and diapers. The boss gave him one last chance. If he didn't find the gem, the enforcer would kill him. Daryl took Calvin to a hockey game. The baby pulled the diamond from the purse and put it in his mouth to sneak it out. But Daryl noticed. He asked the kid to open his mouth, and to avoid getting caught, Calvin swallowed the diamond. No matter, the little guy got revenge. He shouted nasty things from the stands, and Daryl got blamed for it. In the end, the kid threw an ice-filled cup at a hockey player. The huge guy wanted to beat up Daryl, but Calvin changed his mind and stood up for him. That evening, the couple threw a birthday party for the baby. It was boring, so Calvin decided to mess with the entertainer. He told him his job was crap and started a fight. Meanwhile, the grandpa was watching TV and saw news about a diamond thief. And as you've guessed, it was Calvin. One of the dads suggested a game of football, kids versus fathers. The strong dad's team always won, until Calvin joined in and beat the big guy senseless. That's one game he won't forget. Interestingly, the grandpa who hated Calvin decided to give him a teddy bear. Clearly, the old man was planning something. After the party, Calvin had stomach problems. He drank an entire bottle of laxatives. He wanted to get to the toilet but didn't make it, and did his business in front of everyone. Vanessa changed his diaper, but oops. She found the diamond Calvin had swallowed. She thought it was a surprise from Daryl and thanked him profusely. Then they went to a restaurant. The grandpa started questioning Calvin about the theft, and Calvin confessed everything, saying gangsters were after him and would kill him if he didn't return the gem. The old man wasn't moved, so a wild brawl broke out. When the couple came home, they saw the aftermath. They yelled at Grandpa, who tried to prove Calvin was a criminal, and asked them to check the teddy bear with the hidden camera. But no luck. That night, Daryl decided to review the footage. He discovered that Calvin wasn't a baby at all and had stolen the diamond himself. Daryl told Vanessa, but by then, both Calvin and the gem were gone. The partners celebrated. They were rich now. But Calvin's conscience kicked in. He couldn't leave Daryl with nothing. The man had been like a father to him. So the little guy came back. Inside Daryl's house, the gangsters were demanding the diamond. Then Calvin appeared. When the lights went out, he smacked the enforcer on the head, and the brute was too dumb to realize who hit him. The boss was shocked. Daryl took the chance to escape, and the crooks split up. Calvin easily took out another one using a toy rocket and a rubber hockey stick. Meanwhile, the boss found Daryl but got beaten with rubber gloves. The thugs recovered and went after Calvin, but he wasn't afraid. Using a hanging diaper, he gave them hell. Then the boss entered the kitchen with Daryl. He saw Calvin playing with a toy airplane and ordered him to drop it. Message received. The little guy launched the plane and hit the target perfectly. The police arrived just in time. The gangsters were arrested, and Calvin finally turned over the diamond to the cops. He told Daryl that he was a great guy, that he'd had fun, and that Daryl had been like a father to him. In the end, they became good friends, and Calvin and the grandpa finally got along.